This is representative of an extraterrestrial civilization. This is the most important discovery in the history of mankind.
It's 2011, and we're coming up on 2012. This is I guess we're going to the 13th year anniversary of Dr. Reed's encounter since he came forward with this information in 1998, November. And I got some questions dealing with the aftermath of the Fact or Fake show. Also, I got questions dealing with the Link artifact video, circumstances behind that, if you can discuss any of that. But just, if you can, just briefly, again, I know you've already done it before, but if you can give more details, step by step, concerning the activation of the Link, your perceptions. Briefly give us descriptions of your perceptions on what you see once you've already activated it and arrived to the space and time that you are on the other side with the light beams.
The Link artifact is this unique wrist device. I mean, it's like a remote control for something that we can't even comprehend. It's basically run and controlled by its owners, the superiors who have either engineered it or are using it for their own means. We don't know what all it does. I mean, it's fabulous. It's fantastic. It's unbelievable. But we have no concept. We have nothing to hold it up against to really know its true potential. I mean, we know whoever is wearing it, you're basically asking permission to be activated when you put it on your wrist. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's been times where people have tested it and it made them very sick. Robert used it one time way in the early days, just trying it, and it made him sick for a week. And another guy used it and he ended up dying. A science administrator of a university. But I don't know why I was given permission to use this. I don't know why I was chosen. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're chosen to do this." Or selected.
Okay.
It's a unique thing. It's in some respects, it's an honor. I suppose it's not fun. It's not a ride at an amusement park. It's painful. It creates a situation in my body that feels like a heart attack is happening. A huge thrombosis in my chest. Painful throughout my whole body when it's activated. It's a harmonic disturbance within my chest, a vibration. Some people have said that it's a changing of frequency and or dimension that takes place that causes the actual transformation. The process of using it and taking you wherever it takes you is a winking out feeling, like you're in a room where you start and then your sight becomes less and less and less clear to the point of almost tunnel vision. vision and almost total darkness, and then a second later you feel like you're standing in this big white room, big round white, with all these other entities, looking down on you, looking at you, and in that moment, it's like being in the presence of an angel or God. You don't want to leave. You feel loved. You feel tremendous amount of safety in that moment of embrace. It's very difficult to explain. Your emotions are running so, the whole spectrum of emotion, from positive to negative to fear to joy, is just incredible. It's not any one thing. Where is the place, people say? Where do you go? Is it a ship, or is it is it some special location? I can't answer that question. I don't know where I go. All I know is that in that moment, these entities are embracing me and telling me in my mind that I'm okay. This is okay. It's okay not to fully understand this, and that I have been selected, or I've been given this opportunity to communicate, to talk with them, to understand, and to be a focus for the moment of trying to understand what is happening with this process, with them, and their situation with maybe me, the subject, at that moment. It's very difficult to understand and discern all of what I'm being told. It's not words, it's feelings, it's memories, it's unlocking emotions within my own history, my own mind. And my mind is trying to translate these feelings into some kind of logic, and it's almost impossible. And then they take you back, and then they say, you're okay, and we're going to take you back to where you belong. And then you're back a few seconds later, and it's painful to come back. You don't really want to be taken back. I've said this so many times, but people don't understand. This isn't something I chose to do. Okay, I didn't want this. In the beginning, I tried to give this away, the evidence, the case. I tried to talk to people in the international UFO community and say, please help me. And they pushed me away. They outed me, tried to run me out of town for whatever reason. And, this goes back to the feeling of, when something this unique, this truly fantastic happens to someone, you would like to find people who could help you, who could literally guide you, who have had some experience with this type of opportunity before. But I found that, and I was really disheartened by the fact that the community, the UFO community, the paranormal community, really gave me very little support. And over the years, I found this is true. This has been the case all over the world for many, many community, a family, if you will, of people who can support each other in this time of emotional crisis. There's no stability to this information because there's nothing to draw community around. Each situation is very different, even though there are similarities when people have contact, but they can be from one end of the spectrum to the other. Sometimes they're children who are contacted and not their parents. Sometimes they're kids who are in their teens. Sometimes they're older people. So it's across the board. And we need to give these people a voice, not just from the standpoint of one of us who happens to be in the spotlight talking about them. We need to bring them forward and embrace their stories and them as the people we need to listen to. You know, we don't need to out them. We don't need to, ridicule them. I mean, that's the problem with the UFO community and the paranormal community, is that we tend to tear them apart because they have wild stories, or they have too much evidence, or they don't have enough evidence. There's too many egos involved within the hierarchy of the entertainment end of ufology. That's why I stepped away from it. That's why I didn't continue to be part of that circus, to go around the United States and talk at these different forums where they literally put you on display and you charge tickets. I took myself out of that. Okay? That's one of the reasons why publicly, openly, I haven't been talking. I've decided that, maybe my best use of my own experience was to go behind the scenes and talk to people candidly and gather information to try to better understand what's going on for all of us. It's not just about one individual. It's not just about me having an experience and, me standing up in a spotlight and telling my story. It's about all of us. It's about the connectivity of this unique, unusual, unnerving situation. We have no guidelines to handle this. This is not part of our framework. It's not part of our paradigm. And all of a sudden you're thrown out of your normal comfort zone into this situation where you have no lifeline. Unless you're talking to somebody else who has had some kind of similar experience or knows the trauma involved, the emotional trauma that you go through dealing with this. I mean, it's really hard for people. I know that a lot of the public have sincere ideas and sincere kindness about some of us who have talked about what's happened in our lives. But for, I think, the majority of the people, they don't understand the hardship. They don't understand how difficult this whole thing is, how it's emotionally draining, and it tears your life apart. I mean, you lose your family and your friends and your job and your whole position within your normal scope of life. You just feel disassociated, disconnected. And that leads to depression. And depression can lead to frustration and, again, feeling more and more displaced to the point where, people commit suicide because they can't relate anymore. They can't handle this.